everyone, it's now time for our English work, but before we do that we're going to go through our spellings this week, and all I want you to do is just read them so you get used to seeing what they look like. So tell me what this one is. More. Please sir, can I have some more cake? Fox. Well done. The fox jumped over the lazy dog. Oh, can you remember this one? This one's our tricky one because we've got a tricky letter here. It's climb. Well done. Climb. I can climb a mountain. Food. Fantastic. My favourite food is chocolate cake. Wild. Well done. The tiger lives in the wild. Can you remember this one? I'll be home in time for dinner. And we're back to the beginning. Great work if you're reading your spellings, year one. You're getting really good at them. Okay, year one, today we are going to go back through our story map, and then we're going to have a go at writing some of the story ourselves. So let's have a practice of my story map. So I've got, this is Bob. Bob is the man on the moon. Every day he wakes up and has a cup of tea and 2 fried eggs. He then heads to work. On the way he stops off at the shop and buys a newspaper and chocolate toffees. When he arrives at the launch pad, he must put on his special man in the moon suit and get aboard his rocket, otherwise he won't be on the moon on time. On the way he reads his newspaper and does the crossword. Once Bob arrives at work, it is his job to clean the moon. He cleans up all of the cans and crisp packets that have been left behind. Now it is time for lunch. For lunch, Bob has 2 sandwiches, usually cheese or peanut butter, an apple and some chocolate-covered raisins. Sometimes he has lunch with his friend Billy, the man from Mars, and Sam, the man from Saturn. They talk about the stars and tell jokes. After lunch, it's Bob's job to entertain all of the tourists. He tells them facts, does handstands and especially high moon jumps, and can have to do this for up to 2 hours. Occasionally, the tourists land on the moon, where Bob will sell them postcards, pencils, mugs, and small moon statues. Before leaving for home, Bob must check to make sure that no one has been left behind in any craters, but there never is anybody. Lastly, Bob must fly all the way home, keeping his wits about him. Finally, Bob, just like anyone else, has a nice hot bubble bath, a cup of cocoa before going to bed, happy that he is the man on the moon. The end. Now that is our story. Now what we're going to do today is have a go at writing some of it. So I have got my special book here. Now we're only going to write a small amount. We're not going to write it all. What we are going to write is all the way up until Bob gets onto the moon. So we're going to start here. Now I'm going to start in my book. Now remember, when we write at the edge here. We don't start over here. We don't start down here, so we're going to start nice up the top. So, this is Bob. So I'm going to write, this is Bob. This, big capital T. This is. This is Bob. Now Bob is his name, so I'm going to do a big capital B. This is Bob. Full stop. He is the man on the moon. He is the man on the moon. Full stop. So is Bob. He is the man on the moon. Every day. So I'm going to write that here. Every, because I know I can fit every here. Every day. Now you can refer back to your story map if you need to. So every day, Bob wakes up. Bob wakes up. So every day, Bob wakes up and has a cup of tea and 2 eggs. So every day, Bob wakes up and has a cup of tea and 2 eggs. Full stop. Fantastic, that's our first picture drawn. Now we're going to go along to our next one. So then Bob needs to go to work. So then, and I'm just going to continue on like a whole story. It's going to go all the way down. Then Bob, what is it? Then Bob goes to work. Goes to work. Now I can't fit work here, so I'm going to go down here. Then Bob goes to work. Stop. Then Bob goes to work. He stops at the shops. Ooh, I can't fit shops on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub it out. If you can't rub it out, you can just put a pencil line through it. So he stops at the shops. To buy, what did Bob buy? Let's have a look. So on the way, then Bob goes to work, he stops at the shop and buys a newspaper and chocolate toffees. So to buy a newspaper and chocolate toffees. Toffees. Full stop. Fantastic. So far we've written these two. Let's read it back. This is Bob. He is the man on the moon. Every day Bob wakes up and has a cup of tea and 2 eggs. Then Bob goes to work. He stops at the shop to buy a newspaper and chocolate toffees. Fantastic, we have written loads already. Now we need to read this part. So we've got 1, 2, 3. So when, now can I fit when here? Let's try. When Bob arrives at the launch pad. So when Bob, our sentences are quite long for this. Don't think I'd have enough counting fingers. When Bob arrives at the launch, when Bob arrives at the launch pad, what does he do? He puts on his special suit. So when Bob arrives at the launch pad, he puts on his special special, oh, just fitted it on his special space suit and gets in his rocket. And gets in his rocket. Full stop. We've already written loads today, Year 1. Well done. We're just going to do this last one and then we're going to leave the rest for the rest of the week. So let's read back what we've got. So this is Bob. He is the man on the moon. Every day Bob wakes up and has a cup of tea and 2 eggs. Then Bob goes to work. He stops at the shop to buy a newspaper and chocolate toffees. When Bob arrives at the launch pad, he puts on his special spacesuit and gets in the rocket. Now, on the way, Bob reads his newspaper. On the way, Bob reads his newspaper and does the crossword. Fantastic work, Ewan. We have written so much today, and this is the beginning of our story, and that's all we're going to write today. Now remember, if your story is slightly different to mine, that's absolutely fine. They're not supposed to be the same because we're doing how we remember it ourselves, and this is how I remember it. Have a go at writing the beginning of the story. Don't write too much at this precise moment in time. We've got all week to finish writing the rest of the story, so do not worry. Have a nice day, Year 1.